A reading from James. Do not, my brothers, speak ill of one another. The one who speaks ill of his brother or judges his brother is speaking against the law. It is the law he judges. If, however, you judge the law, you are no observer of the law. You are its judge. There is but one lawgiver and one judge, one who can save and destroy. Who then are you to judge your neighbor? Good evening. So if over the next 3 years of my formation, I have the good fortune, the blessing, to share a reflection with you more than just once, I promise you I will be guilty of saying the following words on more than one occasion. I love this scripture passage. You know, I love how James starts out with a warm reference to us as brothers. James calling us brothers draws us closer to Christ, doesn't it? I love the strong reminder that when we judge others, we judge God's law. I don't know about you, but I find the sin of speaking illy of someone or judging someone seems very simple, a sin nonetheless. But when we know that we are judging God's law, it takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? You know, I'm reminded of the story of a woman who passes away after a long illness. And she goes to the pearly gates of heaven, and she's waiting for St. Peter to let her in. And she looks through the gates and she sees family and friends sitting at a beautiful banquet table, family and friends who have passed before her. And she's all excited, and they wave to her, and she waves back. And then St. Peter arrives, and she's excited, and she says, "Oh, St. Peter, what do I need to do to be led through the gates of heaven?" And St. Peter says, you need to spell but one word. And she says, "What word is that?" And he says, "Love." And she does, and the gates open before her, and she joins her friends and family at the banquet table. And sometime later, St. Peter comes up to her and says, "I need you to watch the gates for me as I take care of a few things." And she agrees, and a short time later, her husband arrives at the gate. And she's taken back, and she says, "I didn't expect you so soon." And he says, "Well, shortly after you passed, I married that young woman, the nurse who had taken care of you while you were ill." And then he says, "Shortly after that, we won the lottery. And you remember that cute little house we lived in when we were married? Well, I sold it, and I bought my new wife and I a great big mansion. And then I bought us a boat. And then just this morning, I was out on the boat, and I was water skiing, and one of my skis fell off and bumped me on the back of the head. And, well, I passed, and here I am." And she said, "Oh." He looked through the gates, and he said, I see friends and family who have passed before us, and I see the banquet table in heaven. What do I need to do to join the banquet in heaven?" And she said, "You need to spell but one word." And he said, "What word is that?" And she said, "Czechoslovakia." What's my point? My point is that ours is not to judge. Not judge just those who are easy not to judge. Look around you in this room right now, and you see friends and family who are it's easy not to judge. These aren't the people that Christ is talking about. It's those that are difficult not to judge. You know, we're told that ours is a church of not a country club for saints, but rather a hospital for sinners. We also know that Pope Francis has chosen not to live in the papal residency, that he has taken up to live in a boarding house for priests. And adjacent to that boarding house is a chapel where, when he's not traveling, the Pope says Mass twice a week. And his homily always speaks to the importance of us being a church that draws people closer to Christ, not a church that sits in judgment. You know, especially those where we should especially be drawing those close to Christ, those that are struggling. You know, we are to be ambassadors to Christ. Our job is to be his servants. And I pray that Christ give us the strength to be his ambassadors. Peace.